Hello and thanks for joining us on another edition of National Focus. I'm Jarna, Hector. Coming up, efforts to contain the citrus greening disease on the island continue. The Japan International Cooperation Agency is looking to increase its foreign aid to the Caribbean region, and the Dominica Council on Aging to hold its 18th annual general meeting this Friday. Stay with us for details of these and other stories after the break.
The facts as they are, brought to you every day, only on GIS Channel 7.
Welcome back. In keeping with its mission to provide technical support and aid for economic and social growth in developing countries, the Japanese government, through the Japan International Cooperation Agency JICA, is looking to increase its foreign aid to the Caribbean region. Japanese government officials recently met with Caribbean fisheries ministers in St. Lucia to discuss the fisheries industry in the region and to evaluate the status of grant aid for the development of the industry and other marine resources. Honorable Dr. Kenneth Daru, Dominica's fisheries minister, represented the island at that conference. According to Honorable Dr. Daru, the Japanese government has contributed immensely to Dominica's economy through infrastructure, technical support, and training in the fisheries industry.
We know that over the years we've seen the construction of 3 massive fisheries complexes throughout the island, and also not just infrastructure but also the ongoing technical support through JICA, where we've seen education of our fishermen. We've really seen the fisheries sector move on to the next level, where they've financed even the basic training manual, which is what the fisheries division uses right now in getting fishermen registered. Okay, all of this has been funded by JICA.
The minister highlighted Japan's dedication to the cause despite facing their own financial responsibilities. Honorable Daru told GIS News that a plan for the establishment of a multi-purpose fisheries complex in the south of the island is currently underway.
This will be more or less the final complex that we have as part of our long-term plan for the fisheries sector. I'm talking about in the Four Seasons Dubixto area. This project, the concept paper was handed over to the government, well, the Japanese embassy in Trinidad, I think about a year ago. And then it seems to be picking up some speed, and I'm very confident and very optimistic that pretty soon we will get an official word that this project has been approved, and I think this is good news for the people, fisher folk, and the wider community. And my vision of this project is not just a fisheries project per se, but what I call like a marine resources, sustainable use of marine resources, where we can have, yes, an area for the fishermen to moor the boat, storage, administrative building, but also an area that we can see the development of other marine related activities such as diving, even the sale of value added and products, smoked fish, etc.
According to the minister, the proposal is at an advanced stage of review in Tokyo. He voiced his optimism about the proposed project, saying Japan has proposed its continued support of small-scale projects, including capacity-building development ventures, through the OECS Secretariat. This suggestion is due for approval by Caribbean finance ministers, pending which the funds will be utilized to improve the region's fisheries industry. Honorable Daru voiced his intentions to utilize the financial aid to establish a credit facility for fishermen. This venture, he hopes, will provide means for transforming casual fishing into careers for fishers.
One of the plans I have for the use of this money, once it comes through, would be the whole issue of establishing credit facility for fishermen. Because I've spoken a number of times before as the difficulty that the fisher folk have in accessing credit. A lot of the, and of course thanks to the fisheries division, the fishing community is right now much more business savvy. And they've been trained and taught and educated to look at fishing not just, as I always said, from the sea to mouth, but as a carrier. And we see the most serious among them wanting to invest in bigger vessels. Of course, with the advent of the infrastructure with the advent of the new infrastructure that's being built or has been built or is going to be built, we'll see more and more of them wanting to invest in bigger vessels. But here lies the problem that a lot of the conventional financial institutions that they're really not willing to have the credit, to make the credit available to the fishermen. Number one, maybe for lack of collateral. Number two, because of the high risk of the whole fishing activity and the lack of established insurance policies, etc.
Honorable Daru affirmed that the meeting in St. Lucia has left him confident that with the aid of JICA, Dominica's fisheries sector will move to the next level. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Agriculture is strengthening its strategy to control the spread of the citrus greening disease to new areas on the island. The citrus greening disease has been affecting citrus plants on the island since May 2012. Since then, the Ministry of Agriculture and the Forestry Division developed and established an emergency action plan and was able to put together a rapid response strategy to contain the disease in the affected communities. On Thursday, Ryan Anselm of the Plant Protection Unit of the Division of Agriculture reported the disease is slowly spreading to new areas on the island. Anselm says while this eradication program has been effective in affected communities, the ministry has had to upgrade its integrated pest management strategy.
You would recall that the Ministry of Agriculture developed a strategy which entails elimination of infested material, that is plants and plant pad that is infested with citrus greening, and management of the vector, which is the Eastern citrus psyllid, and quarantine and containment to prevent the movement of infested plant materials from one area to another. That strategy has worked successfully, but what we are seeing presently is that the disease is slowly spreading to other areas. That is why the Ministry of Agriculture has examined the integrated pest management strategy and is going to update the public on a new strategy because the disease has been found in new areas.
The disease has so far been identified in the Portsmouth, Point Michel, Wesley and Lapland areas. As a continued eradication strategy, the Division of Agriculture is calling on farmers and members of the general public to refrain from moving plant material from affected areas to areas where the disease has not been intercepted.
I have to remind the general public that the disease is a vector-transmitted disease, which means an insect transmits the bacteria from tree to tree, which makes the eradication process very difficult. We are also urging the farmers and the general public to assist the Ministry of Agriculture in not moving planting material from one area to another.
The Plant Protection and Quarantine Department of the Division of Agriculture has been working with farmers affected by the citrus greening to contain the disease. The strategy will include eliminating all infested trees in residential areas. Residents are therefore asked to be on the lookout for the disease and to comply with measures proposed by the Ministry of Agriculture. In more news, Dominica's Tourism Minister and Parliamentary Representative for the Portsmouth constituency, Honorable Ian Douglas, is encouraged by the level of professionalism and growth exhibited by members of the Portsmouth Association of Yacht Security. The minister's remarks come as the Ministry of Tourism works to move Dominica's yachting industry to a higher level. On Wednesday, the ministry held a yachting symposium in Roseau as part of activities marking Tourism Awareness Month. Minister Douglas says government will continue supporting the association to ensure that it continues to provide professional services to those whom they serve.
I being the parliamentary representative for Portsmouth and the Ministry of Tourism, and seeing firsthand, because I grew up, I was born on the bayfront, just like a jetty boy, Chasai, as they were called in the past. And I saw the professional development of those guys today who are called the Portsmouth Association of Yachting Security and Services. And I, as Minister of Tourism, I have followed them and taken great interest in their development. We've gone ahead and we have placed the moorings, the government, again through the Ministry of Tourism, placed 50 moorings there in the harbour so that the yachties do not have to drop anchor to damage our coral reef, but they can tie up on those moorings, and those boys can generate employment by charging 40 US or 30 US a night for the tying up on those moorings. They in turn take that money and they purchase fuel for a night security boat, a night security dinghy that we have given to them from the Ministry of Tourism. We've given one to the Portsmouth Association of Yacht Services and Security, and we've given one to Hubert Winston and the guys in the Loubier, Newtown area, because we also have moorings in that area, in a whole way to try to develop the yachting sector, helped of course by the European Union. And it has gotten to the point where the guys have really developed their services to such an extent where we see, you know, them blossoming into them owning their own facility right now. They have a building, a home, which is called the Pays Events Center in Portsmouth, where they actually have gone ahead and put on what they call a Sunday barbecue during the yachting season.
The Ministry of Tourism recently presented a brand new engine to the Portsmouth Association of Yacht Security to ensure the sustainability of its operations. Meanwhile, the Dominica Council on Aging will hold its 18th annual general meeting at the Fort Young Hotel from 9 a.m. The meeting will be held under the distinguished patronage of His Excellency the President, Eliud Williams. The theme for this year's meeting is Aging, a Fountain of National Human Resource Capacity. Dorothy Levy, a past board member, will deliver the feature address on Friday, while other addresses are expected to come from the Honorable Charles Savre, representing the Honorable Prime Minister, as well as the Minister for Social Services and Community Development. The highlight of the annual general meeting will be the Council President's message, which will give an overview of the program of the Dominica Council on Aging for the last period. The election of the Board of Directors is expected to take place during the business session. And finally, this news time, the fight to reduce unemployment is utilizing yet another strategy thanks to the innovative efforts of the government of Dominica. At Monday's launching of Module 2 of government's apprenticeship program, Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit gave insight into how his government is performing its duty to reduce unemployment in Dominica. The nation's leader listed the Dominica Youth Business Trust as yet another way through which government invests in Dominica's youth.
We've had for the last several years the Dominica Youth Business Trust, a similar program like this, but for a particular age group, where young people go through a training exercise, after which they develop a business plan, and the government of Dominica has placed monies at the financial institutions to guarantee the loans, meaning that the government of Dominica is taking the risk on behalf of the young person who is going into creating a small business.
Prime Minister Skerrit assured the nation that his government will assist apprentices of Module 2 to open their own food services and nail technology businesses at the end of the 8-week program.
As long as you complete this training session, because if you drop out, then that's a matter for you. But I give you the assurances here this morning, as the Minister of Finance of this country, that once you complete this exercise, the small business unit will finance the setting up of your small business. And I shall make the monies available to the small business unit to assist you in establishing your small business. We have to appreciate that this government is doing all of these things in a time when the entire world is grappling with serious challenges.
In his address at the event, Minister for Employment, Dr. John Colin McIntyre, named positive results emanating from government's efforts to reduce the rate of unemployment in Dominica.
This is the experience of the next level, ladies and gentlemen. You'll be exposed to the techniques of the culinary art industry, starting and managing a small business, money management, identifying special leakages, and the benefits of social security. At the end of this exercise and experience with the Ministry of Employment, you would have journeyed towards acquiring an income-generating skill, transitioning into getting a job or creating a job for yourself individually.
About 50 men and women turned up at the Public Service Training Center on Monday to register bank accounts with the NBD and the Social Security accounts in anticipation of the new skill to which they will be exposed over the next 8 weeks. Government is providing a weekly allowance to participants to facilitate expenses during that time. And that's all for the English news. McPherson St. Luce is next with the Creole highlight.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, l'organisation ni pour que tu aies un grand meeting qui concerne la préparation des as, selon saison cyclone qui va venir. Parole celle-là, sortie au ministère qui a une responsabilité pour faire des as, Honorable Charles Savren.
NIPO, c'est une organisation où la tout même cabinet, ministère gouvernement, tout premier secrétaire, ça c'est chef civil service en chaque ministère gouvernement, chef différents départements comme port, comme customs, bagaille comme ça, avec chef organisation comme ça qui est communication agencies comme mapping, television, radio, bagaille comme ça. Parce que c'est important même pour nous savoir ce qui est fait. Comme ça, différentes organisations nouvelles, c'est pour eux même aussi dans cette situation là, pour eux ça informer les gens ce qui est fait. Comme ça, organisation, ça a tout ce monde qui a rassemblé pour discuter saison là qui est venue là avec différents plans de tenir en place. Organisation là qui travaille dans ce différents comités avec chaque chef, chairman comité qui fait un report pour dire comment yo même en communauté yo faire rangement pour ça yo ni pour faire en tout cas et un désastre, on recueille un flood bagaille comme ça.
Autre nouvelle, gouvernement Dominique bien satisfait manière à expliquer marché. Parole celle-là sortie au ministère Telecoms, Honorable Ambrose George.
Des mois depuis nous launch à Expia, report là mon tapé qu'il y a autant de trafic qui est passé pour à Expia avec manière nous mettons ici pour tout trafic local à Dominique. Si vous avez un email, bah moi un message, ou pour moi avant il était pour aller à l'autre pays avant mon recevoir mais avec AXP ça il y a trafic ça qui a été en Dominique avec il qui trafic là plus vite et ben il a moins on pour payer pour trafic ça so nous avons un hoodie trafic qui a passé à AXP avec quand nous avons grandi avec ICT en Dominique, avec télécommunications en Dominique, nous avons plus de trafic qui a passé through AXPA avec nous avons impact là, positive impact là qui est sur c'est mon qui a one service là, c'est mon qui a tapé service là avec généralement un pays.
Organisation carré comme si agrément investissement et puis commodité et puis l'Amérique pendant vice-président Joe Biden joint et puis officier CARICOM en Trinidad Timen Salam. Chairman CARICOM président Michel Mateli de Haïti signé à ce compte CARICOM pendant vice-président Biden signé à ce compte l'Amérique. Rangement ça là qu'a expecté pour avancer investissement entre CARICOM et puis l'Amérique. Quand même selon on parole qui sorti, rangement ça là qui avance développement PEP régional. Ça fait qu'à continuer le rangement et puis WTO aussi qu'à revisiter sinon rangement neuf salam. Et puis finalement, ministère pêche pays OICS une discussion et puis en délégation gouvernement Japan pendant un meeting en Saint-Lucie. Ministère pêche Dominique Honorable Dr. Kenneth Darrow représenté Dominique en meeting salam. Selon ministre Darrow, Japan fait promettre pour mettre plus l'argent qu'à concerne pêche en OICS.
Ça, c'était un meeting spécial parce que le ministère Foreign Affairs au Japon était là, le meeting. Et une bonne nouvelle là, c'est que Japan cal increase foreign aid pour développer fisheries sector à la OICS là. Now, ce projet là, nous avons le cadre là, actuellement c'est développement on a créé un marine avec fisheries complex pour South Island dans la région Forces du Big Store. Et après meeting bilatéral avec Japan, nous sommes confidents que que project ça oui qui approuve et mon cas espérer n'importe que gouvernement Japan qui écrit nous officiellement et dit nous qui project ça là.
Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelles en créole pour à présent. Non moins c'est McPherson, St. Louis. Au revoir.
Coming up next, one tip to help you accept the things you cannot change.
Scary. Everything just shaking and making big creaky noises.
Earthquakes, big and small, take place in the Caribbean at least 10 times a year.
The dishes rattling and falling and breaking, then Vonnie started to scream.
All I could think to do was shout, "Get outside, get out!"
Earthquakes, hazards, take control, reduce your loss. If an earthquake hits, what can you do? Get down, get under an item of furniture like a table. Hold on and stay there until the quake passes. Find out lots more about earthquakes and other hazards at your local disaster office. A message from your National Disaster Office and Sidera.
To effectively accept the things you cannot change, get out of your ego. Maybe your status in the world isn't what it once was, or you're doing work you thought you'd never do again, but be who you are and do what you're doing as if it were the grandest thing on earth. And that's all for National Focus today. We welcome your suggestions and comments. Please feel free to drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm or visit our website news.gov.dm. Friend us on Facebook and be sure to like our GIS Dominica fan page. You can also catch up on past National Focus newscasts on our GIS Dominica YouTube channel. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Jarna Hector. Thank you for watching.